Okay, and we are back for another one of our adult toy collecting conversations
Conversations.
or discussions.
Discussions. What are we discussing today?
David had a discussion that he wanted to talk about.
Oh, did I?
He has 5 points.
Well, it's a little more than five, I think. But,
Yeah, because every time he thinks, he adds another point.
you know how that kind of happens when you get talking about something, and LPH and I were talking about this, and you realize that there might be a little more to it than just whatever you originally thought. And that's, thoughts on setting up and displaying your own space. You have a space in your home. Maybe it's a big space, maybe it's a small space, whatever. How am I going to do this? And there's some factors, some things that you might want to think about. And we're not telling you how to display anything. You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
But there are some things you might want to think about or consider. And that's where we're going with that. And to me, I think the first thing is environment. Where is this space in your home or outside of your home? Because I've seen a couple of people, they got it in a shed. They've set up a shed like in their yard for display. And that makes me nervous personally, because I'm like, oh, what about pests, especially in a shed, or things like that. And that's what I mean by environment. Where is this space, and what are the environmental factors of that space? Is it going to be exposed to a lot of sunlight? What are you going to do to control it? Are there going to be pests? What are you going to do to control that? Can you create a stable environment that will be pest-free without having to use all kinds of chemicals and things? Because the residues from those chemicals, it'll settle on your stuff.
Yeah,
It'll cause damage.
Unless you find the space first and then you bomb it or spray it or however method you want to use before you move the collection in.
Yeah, you've got to prepare this space.
Yeah.
This is an area that's prone to moisture. Moisture is a huge enemy to your collection. Moisture absorbs into these boxes. I've seen boxes with mildew and mold and all sorts of things being sold or coming out of people's collections, or it's in a basement and it floods, and they didn't think, like, everything in here is on risers. Like, if you look down here, this isn't on the floor. Nothing touches the floor.
No, it's not. We built some risers out of 2x4s.
Yeah.
And
so that we could keep everything a certain distance off the floor, just in case.
You never know. You can't, have the thought, well, I'm in a flood-free zone and, I got a flood-proof basement.
Yeah, you could have a burst pipe. There's a lot of things that could happen.
Because we're in the basement, so all of the pipes are above us.
Yeah.
So if one of the toilets decide to leak or the sink or something, it's going to come down.
It'll come down. Where's it going to go? And that's something that you need to plan for and think about. Is your space going to be too hot? Heat will ruin a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah.
Heat or constant changing. Can you maintain an environment? Heat and cold fluctuations can cause warping in cardboard, warping in cellophane. It can cause certain types of cellophane to become very brittle. I don't know if you've ever seen that. You probably have. Like LJN is good for this with some of their packaging, like the Dune figures, for example. It starts to turn like this yellow color.
Yeah,
that'll crack.
I've seen that.
That'll crack and split. And sometimes it's not from sunlight. Sometimes it's from heat and cold. And that can also cause blisters to separate from packages. There's a lot to think about. Where are you going to set this up, and how can you control that environment to keep your investment safe? Because it is an investment, not just of money, but of time, of energy, of emotion. There's a lot of highs and lows in emotion in collecting as well. Then you move on to the next point. You found your space. How much space do you actually have? How much space are you working with? Before you just start throwing shelves in there and dragging totes in, you've got to build a plan. You can't just fill it up. This is why stores have planograms. You know, they get those charts. You've seen them.
Yeah.
Like,
especially during the holidays.
Yeah, they hang the sheet on the wall, and that's a plan for the employee to come in and break the whole thing down and reshelve it and set it up for the new stuff. You've got to kind of do that yourself. What am I going to bring in here? How am I going to set it up to best utilize this space rather than just cramming everything in there? Which leads into the next thing, which is displayability. How are you going to display it? How are you going to set it up so that it looks good, so that you're getting the best aesthetic value out of your collection? You're not just looking at it and it's just crammed. Even if you have to not put everything up. I'd rather have and I've been there myself when I lived in Boston. I didn't have any space. 80% of my stuff was in totes or more. But if I had everything out, it would look like an episode of Hoarders. It doesn't make any sense. So how are you going to set it up so it looks the best instead of just cramming everything? And you see a lot of that with Funko, because Funko, we've called it, what do we call Funko?
Kudzu.
Kudzu, that's right. Because it's invasive. All those little boxes, and it's like, oh, it's just this little cute box. It's harmless. Look at this. It's so harmless and innocent, right?
Yeah.
But it multiplies. It's like termites.
Like Chud.
Yeah. You seen that movie?
Yeah. Or the Blob.
Oh, the Blob.
That was that little piece, and it just kept growing.
It kept getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
That's your Funko collection.
Yeah, it's like your Funko collection. You got one, and one becomes 10, 10 becomes 50, 50 becomes 500, and so on and so on.
I wish that happened to money.
Yeah,
to the folding kind.
Yeah, folded money.
Not the kind that jingle.
Yeah, jingling money. Well,
but jingling money or spend.
If it's gold coins.
Anyway.
But, they run out of space, and then they end up displaying them everywhere. We've talked about, like, we knew that one guy, he had them displayed in his bathroom and in his kitchen because he just ran out of space in his house. Then you start turning them like that, and then you got them lined up this way, and you can't even see the figure anymore.
You just see the side of the box.
Yeah. And then they start putting them 2, 3, 4 rows deep.
Yeah.
And what are you displaying at that point? It doesn't look good. You'd be better off having like 900 of these in totes and 100 on display if it looks good, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Or you see this with Star Wars Black Series collectors. They don't display them. They got all the boxes turned sideways, and all you see is a row of numbers on a red background. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What am I looking at? I'm looking at a row of box edges and not seeing your figures. Wrestling WWE collectors are guilty of this too, because you end up with, because they make the same figure over and over again.
I know. That's why I had to stop with wrestlers.
Different paint schemes, and you end up with like 50 versions of John Cena, and they're 8 deep on the shelf, and you can't see none of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how are you going to display these to get the most out of it, to pull the most out of it, so that everything is visible? Like, I think this looks pretty decent.
Yeah, this is our method. We use the slat wall
system
method, and then this is a store display
slat wall. Because you can put hooks on it, you can put shelves on it.
Yeah.
You can put large shelves like this. Or you see here, I didn't want them to be too deep, so I stair-stepped them back there.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of see everybody. And, I'm not saying that I'm so perfect, but
this is a method.
It works good for us.
Yeah, I mean, some people use bookshelves.
Yeah.
And the bookshelves are nice.
You can make it work.
If you take the time and again plan. And that's the thing where I think a lot of people begin to lack. They find a space and they say, well, this is the space that I have. Fine. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. But still sit down and take a day or two. Draw it out. When we got
Get
this
a piece
room,
of paper.
Yeah, we literally, because that's one of my big things. I have to lay it out. And we drew it. And we divided the room up and we said, okay, then each one of us got our sides And then I said, okay, on this wall I want this, on that wall I want that. And we decided to go with the slat walls.
Yeah.
Because in our last house we had the bookshelves. And the bookshelves were okay.
They were okay to a point.
Yeah, but for what we wanted to do, the bookshelves wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But not knocking bookshelves. If that's what you like and that's what you want to do, don't be like the Delta Kings who say, "Oh, your collection is awful because you don't have Delta."
And I've been told that.
Yeah.
I've been in the comment section on some of our videos in the past a couple of times. Somebody was like, your collection, you can't display your stuff good at all. It looks terrible because you don't have them in Deltovs. And I'm like, are you going to buy them for me?
Yeah.
That stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
And not only that, but a lot of times you see these guys and they got Deltovs and they got like $2 figures in there. And it's like you spent a fortune on the display case and you got figures in there that don't look right.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But
and it's all about perception.
Perceptive.
Yeah, your perception. Your perception. Everything looks good in a Deltov. Okay, well, you buy
Deltovs, set them up.
Detov or Deltov?
I've heard it pronounced both ways.
One of them. You know what we're talking about. And and then somebody else's perspective, everything looked good in on a bookshelf. Okay, then get yourself some bookshelves.
Run down to Walmart. And if I can make a recommendation, DVD shelves work better. Yeah. Unless you got a big piece.
Yeah.
Because the DVD shelves, then you only working with that depth, like so much depth.
It's like 6 inches.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. About the depth of a DVD. About like that.
Yeah.
So that way it doesn't get shadowed back.
Yeah.
And it displays, if you can get like a few units of those or however you want to do it. Experiment with it.
Yeah, because we used the DVD shells. We used the bookshelves.
And those worked pretty good.
Yeah, the DVD shells were the best.
Yeah.
But we came to find that this setup that we have with the slat walls, we like the best.
Yeah, we like it.
Yeah, we like it, and it doesn't matter if somebody else don't like it because they didn't buy it.
That's true.
They didn't put a dime in it.
That's why I said at the beginning, we're not telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. You're just making some suggestions based on our experience, and you can make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've said this before.
Absolutely.
Don't listen to people that don't pay your bills. I'm serious.
You're absolutely right. She's right, folks. Listen to her.
I've said that on a video before. And it's the truth, and I stick by that until the day I die. If the person doesn't pay your bills, yeah.
She's so casual about it too.
Yeah, because it's the truth.
It's true. It is true.
Because everybody that speaks to you, and especially the one that want to criticize you, and
they want to talk smack on you, on your video or something.
Yeah, you don't know them. They don't pay one bill in your house, and you don't know them. You never seen them. You talk on Facebook or you talk on the YouTube comment. You know their YouTube name or Facebook name or something like that. Who cares?
Hiding behind the anonymity of the internet to be a butthole to somebody. Because they can. Where's your collection? Mm-hmm. What does it look like?
Look like garbage. It is in their imagination.
Yeah.
Their collection is in Walmart because they never bought anything.
I wonder about that too when people criticize really bad. What does your collection look like? Yeah. Because people that have really amazing setups, and I've seen some nice displays. We were looking at one for GI. This guy had vintage GI Joe a while back, or like a few days ago, right? With the center display glass case. He had the glass case and the center display with all the angled shelving and all the wall shelves. It looked real nice. The people that have the real amazing displays, I never see them criticize anybody.
Because they know what it takes.
Yeah, they know they put their heart in it. They're not going to put somebody down because they have bookshelves.
Yeah.
But
and there's nothing wrong with bookshelves.
No. If you can make it work, you can make it work.
Yeah, because I've seen some people that had bookshelves, and you're like, wow,
That's a bookshelf?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I want to do that.
It's true. It's true. Next subject. And this was a tough one for us for a while, and we just about got it worked out. Lighting.
Oh yeah, that old lighting.
Because we had some issues with lighting down here, and we just put these in, and we put a video up a few weeks back because LPH wanted to show that because people had asked, hey, how are you guys doing on lighting? and it's like, yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
And we upgraded the lighting. It does help a lot. We've seen a lot of collections. It's really dark, and you know, we get it. It's not always so easy. It is really difficult to get the lighting just right, or to get the lighting in there. You can only do the best you can do.
And lighting is expensive, so don't get upset because somebody say, "Oh, you don't have lighting." Well, buy me some lighting.
Or they want to get they want to string it under all the shelves or whatever, and that's something a lot of people can't do. They don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
And we bought that string thing from Walmart. That mess didn't work. We took it right back.
Yeah, she wanted to try to do something in her section with that, and it was nothing but headaches.
Yeah, we couldn't... we plugged it in, and it didn't work. It worked at Walmart.
Yeah, it worked at Walmart.
But once we bought it and brought it home, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to try it in this section. If it works, we'll do throughout. We couldn't get that thing to work.
And I had one guy kick me in the teeth in a video because he said that I don't have spotlights on everything. Everything needs to have a spotlight on it.
Yeah. Does he have spotlights?
You gonna come and run track lighting for me?
Yeah.
You get about $1,800 for me to get an electrician down here to redo it?
Yeah. And see, it's those types of things.
Yeah.
You know, not trying to be rude or nasty or say, okay, we don't accept criticism. Is one thing when you, because we had a person that said, hey, you know, you look like you have problems with lighting. How about try this type of lighting?
Sure.
Okay, that's something that you listen to.
That's some constructive criticism versus just criticism.
Yeah, it's a suggestion. Hey, you know, I had an issue and I tried this and it worked for me. Give it a try. Okay, yeah, we can do that. But not, oh, your collection looks horrible because you don't have this type of lighting. Yeah. Well. Your
collection sucks because you don't have DTOVs.
Yeah.
Your collection looks like you're in a store. And the other guy, the other DTOF guy, he said that it looks like a mausoleum.
I remember. Good. Then we don't have to worry about you coming over because a lot of people don't like mausoleums.
Yeah. Well,
we actually do.
Show up and I'll haunt you. Yeah, we used to go to cemeteries and take pictures.
The mausoleum.
I would keyhole. I would slip the lens through the keyhole and take a picture of the inside. Believe it or not, the insides of those, some of them they look like an old Catholic cathedral. They're all these stained glass and all this ornate carving and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, back to the point.
Yeah, because half of the time those people never come into your house.
No,
so why you care?
They're not coming, and they're not going to help you, and they're not, you know, they just some people just can't not try to
tear somebody down.
Yeah, can't not kick sand in your face.
And even if you did know them, and you say, "Hey, can you come by this weekend and help me do something in my basement? I need
this weekend."
No, you know, man, you know, I got to go to the wife mama house. You lie. You don't want to go to no wife mama house. But back to the top. Because people are liars and they know they're not going to do nothing to help you. You got a handful of people.
Yes.
You know, I wish I had the friends like Hank Hill. Hank Hill will come. You say, I need help in my basement. He'll come rewire your whole basement.
Yeah.
Because he loves stuff like that. He'll do it. And won't even want your help. He'll want you to get out of the way.
Unfortunately, Hank Hill is an animated character.
I know, but that's the friend you need.
Yeah, but the lighting is an important factor. And also the color in the room will tie in with that.
Yeah, that'll help darken it or lighten it.
Yeah, we had a guy just recently who had commented that I like that you're using the slat wall system. I did the same thing, but I chose black, and I'm having trouble with lighting now.
Yeah.
So you were smart to get the white. And it's like, yeah, I can see that. He's probably having some issues with his lighting. I bet it still looks good.
Yeah.
Because if you can get, because you can get these colored. I've seen them in wood grain and
we went to one of the places that we bought it. Yeah, the distribution center.
When we did the video on the slat walls, we showed some film from in there.
Oh, we did?
It's a huge warehouse.
Yeah, they had different slat walls in a different grain. So I guess, for different types of stores or whatever.
Yeah, even mirrored.
Yeah, they had the
Which
mirrored
I
one
think
would be
that would
really
be
nice.
real interesting. It was expensive though.
That
for that.
yeah, that one.
This stuff was not expensive.
Well, this one we bought, it was in the oops bin because they had well, it was, they had chipped a corner,
Yeah,
or
and
something like that.
we just had to touch up the paint. It wasn't
Yeah,
that big of a deal.
yeah. And the way we do it, that chip corner, you can't
You
tell.
can't see it anyway, but the mirror, if you could afford it, the mirror would probably work really well, especially with lighting.
Yeah.
But all you can do is the best you can do with that. You know, try to factor that in and think about it. Where am I going to set up the lighting? Am I setting this up in a way that the lighting will be obstructed? We made that mistake. We had a couple of tall shelves over here, and it just was casting shadows all over the place.
Another thing that we did when we had the basement done, before we moved everything in it, we actually had an electrician come in and run lighting. And the room was totally empty. It wasn't even painted yet, and the light was so bright. I was like, wow, this light is bright, this is perfect.
Yeah.
But
Once you start filling the room up.
once we painted, it started getting darker. Once we put stuff in it, it started getting darker.
Yeah, because when he came in, it was bones. I had just put up the, what do you call it? Behind the wall.
The framing.
Just put the framing up. Yeah, I just put the framing up, and I drilled the holes for him, and so that he could come and run the boxes.
Yeah.
And do all of that, because I don't want to mess with a junction box. I can hook up, like I hooked up all the plug sockets and stuff, but I don't want to mess with a junction box. I leave that to the professionals. But yeah, it was bare bones and it was bright in here.
Really bright. So if you are fortunate enough and you get a bare bones room, consider the corners, like we have the light in the center, but I wish we had thought further ahead to get smaller lights around the edge of the room.
Yeah.
That would have been better. So just when you think about lighting, more light is better than not enough light, because you can always put some of the lights on a light switch, and you can turn it off and turn it on.
Yeah. And next, or the fifth one, that would be budget.
Oh, that budget.
Oh, that budget, because, not just budgeting for your collection itself, but the budget for how you're going to invest in displaying it, including lighting. That lighting's not cheap. Displays are not cheap.
No.
And we've made the suggestion, like we had the distribution warehouse where they sell store displays is where we got a lot of this. We also got some from clearances. Was it Dress Barn? We got
Dress Barn and Shoe City, I think.
No, it wasn't Shoe.
It was a shoe store that was going out of business. It was Payless. Yeah.
We went to stores that were going out of business, like she said, Payless, and we went to Dress Barn. We got the table. Oh, the tables were crazy cheap. It was $30 a set.
Yeah, and it was like tables. 3 in a set. And then they added a.
And they gave us extra stuff.
Yeah.
They gave us tons of hooks and tons of like when we got some of the slat walls from Payless, and they gave us the
shoe shelf. It's called a shoe shelf.
Yeah, and these are transparent.
Yeah,
they come in. You can get them in colors, I think, but ours are all transparent. They're all different sizes.
Yeah.
So look for those kind of deals. If you have
also on Craigslist, because it was a few. After we had finished, we figured out we need 1 or 2 more slat walls.
Yeah.
And I found some on Craigslist. One of them, I think I spent for a whole 8 foot. I spent like $10.
Yeah.
It was a store going out of business, a little small store.
Yeah.
And I went and picked it up.
Make sure you secure that stuff to studs, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you put it right into the sheetrock and you fill it up, and one day you hear a crash, you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
But always find the studs. But how much can you really afford to invest, and does that mean you want to take it step by step? And some people, they want to go all out and they get DTOFs or whatever. And, if you can afford to do that, that's fine. I would advise against going too cheap.
Yeah.
Some people like to use, like what do you have? You go to Walmart or Family Dollar or something, and you get that blow mold plastic
That
shelving.
plastic shell.
And I have seen, like in Facebook groups and stuff, where people have shown nightmares with that stuff, where the entire the bookshelf folded and collapsed, or those plastic shelves, they turned.
Yeah.
It started to shift and then it collapsed. It came down like a building, and you got all your figures on there, and or statues, and they get smashed. And how many thousands of dollars of investment is going to be destroyed possibly because of that? You've got to be careful.
Yeah.
So even though you've got to be careful with your budget, you can't be too cheap with it either, because it could end up hurting you in the long run. You've got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Another thing too, when you budget in, you want to think about, like he said, with the shelves, don't try to stay away from that particle board.
Yeah.
Because that particle board, after a while, it starts to bend.
Yeah, it
and then
warps.
a month later, it bends more until it's cracked.
Or the edges, they chip out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to think about
Plus, it's heavy.
Yeah,
That
it's
particle
real
board
heavy.
is very heavy, and that's why it bends. You fill it. You're putting stuff on that shelf, and it's adding to the weight. And the particle board, all it is shredded wood that's been glued together and pressed. It gives out after a while, especially if it's exposed to any moisture.
Yeah. So you don't want to put nothing really heavy. Some Funko Pops is not going to cause it to.
You could get them 12 deep on a shelf, though.
Yeah, you can get them 12 deep, but it's not going to fall on you, you know.
Poor
But if you put some decent enough statues on there, you know, not super heavy, but like a 10-pound something here and there,
It may start to sag.
You might get some issues. And another thing you might want to invest in when you have carded figures. See how these, I don't know if you can see it that well, but they're in clam shells.
Yeah.
So if you have some carded figures, new or vintage, you might want to think about, and those clamshells are not cheap. I tell you now.
They can add up. There are some that are kind of common, like this size is pretty common, because this is the universal size for a lot of figures, like Star Wars and Aura G.I. Joe and Migos and all sorts of things will fit in this.
Yeah.
But some of these other sizes, like this one and this one, they discontinue them and then they reprint them again. The companies that make them kind of keep you on a string to coming back for more and willing to pay like $5-6 a piece for them.
Yeah.
But at least if something happens and something falls off, I'm not going to have like crushed corners or a destroyed blister or something.
Yeah, and then you can see they're hung on a peg.
Yeah.
Because
and they're flat on the bottom, so I could stand it on a shelf if I needed to.
Yeah, and the clamshell itself has a hang tab.
Yeah.
But one thing that we didn't talk about, you said pests, but pets.
Pets, yeah.
Because I know we have cats, and he broke our Evelyn hand, rubbing his face all on it.
He wasn't trying to. I mean,
No.
he's they're dumb.
Yeah.
Animals aren't stupid, but
Yeah,
they're dumb.
and especially cats, they like to rub on things. Dogs get excited and
And
wag
their
their
tail is
tail.
wagging and it smacks something down.
Yeah.
You've got to be really careful about pets in an environment like this because they're accident prone.
Yeah. And then, you know, some cats like to spray the whole house. And, you know, you don't want to have, you know, your USS flag sitting there on the floor or, you know, low enough and the cat sprays it.
Oh my God.
You know, then you want to kick the cat out the house.
Oh my God.
You know.
That would be terrible.
So think about, you know, don't allow, unless your pet is like ultra trained.
Yeah.
Don't let your
some pets are really chill and they'll just sit there.
Yeah, they'll just sit there because they're glad to be there and they're not going to touch nothing. And that's fine. But if you know, because this stupid cat going to jump on top of this figure and they're going to rub on it, the dog's going to get excited and wag his tail, you know, you probably want to keep them out of your collection room.
And that goes double for children. Little
Yeah.
kids. Oh, that was heartbreaking. Remember that one guy?
Oh no, you know what? We were at the Toy Lanta.
That's right. You
Oh
didn't see that on
Jesus.
the video when we did the Toy
I
Lanta
just turned the video off.
virtual tour right after
Whew.
she does the interview with the guy who had the Kraken display, which
Yeah.
was massive. He said he spent 2 years building that.
Uh-huh.
And there was that girl, those two girls.
No,
It was two girls, wasn't it?
Yeah, but not them. The little kids. We were upstairs, and the guy had he had his little display, and it was a dad, and one. And he had two little kids. One he was holding in his hand. That boy was crying. The other one picking up the figures.
Oh, the guy had all the Hulk stuff?
Yeah.
I know who you're
And
talking
he,
about. Yeah, I saw that.
the little boys just picking up all of the figures, and the guy is just shaking. And then he finally gets up because the boy picks up one. I can't remember what figure it was, but I knew it was expensive, but I can't think of which one it was. He was like, "Sir, please get your kids away. They can't touch it." And he looked at me because I just turned the camera off, but I still had it in my hand, and he was looking at me like, "Did you get that on film?" And then I just shook my head. I was like,
And
wow.
it kind of shocks me that somebody who collects would be at a show with kids who were out of control and couldn't keep their hands off stuff.
Yeah.
So just being honest. But the one I was talking about, the Kraken display, because on the side of it was the ship was open on one side and the town was open on one side, so you could look inside from behind. And these two little girls are in there with their little Barbie dolls, playing around in the rooms and like moving the figures around. He had the 6 scale figures all through there, and doing whatever they were doing. And it's like, oh my God, who do these two belong to? Get them out of here.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
yeah, you don't want your kids. Some kids are tame.
Yeah.
Well, some kids are
And
feral.
they know better. And some kids, I hate to say it, they're not disciplined well.
No.
And I've seen some videos.
Wow.
I've seen some videos where the guy has a huge collection, and they got their little kid running wild all over the room and grabbing stuff.
Ooh,
and it's like, oh
stuff.
my God, you've got to get that under wraps. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Or visiting children should never come in your collection room.
Visiting people.
That poor Japanese guy. Remember a few months ago, we saw you guys didn't see this, but we did on Facebook, because he was heartbroken. Oh, they put the video on TikTok.
I don't know.
Where he had the Gundam collection, the huge Gundam collection, and the two kids went in there, and I guess they had a war. Two visiting children from like his sister. When they were in the other room, he didn't know they were in there. Do you remember the stuff was all over the floor?
I remember.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. And he was like, and a lot of it was statues and stuff, and they were broken. It was the floor was littered with broken pieces of Gundams. And I was like, dear God, I would never talk to her again.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're going to be having people over.
Your own children need to know better, and visiting kids need to go somewhere else. Put a lock on the door if you have to.
Put one of them cheap alarms, the one that just make noise on the door, so if the door opens, it'll make that siren noise, and at least you'll be alerted. Hey, who's that? I mean, only turn it on when people come by. If you got, some people love to have people by their house.
Yeah.
Some people love that. Oh, we like to entertain. Yeah. Entertaining.
And that brings up a point that you had brought up.
Yeah,
when we
security.
Were talking security.
Get yourself some security cameras.
Very often, when you are ripped off, when you are robbed, it's by somebody you knew.
Yeah, family and friends.
Yeah, family and friends. Unfortunately, knew a guy in Illinois that had that problem, where he was more of a sports collector, but his house was broken into, and he had a lot of very valuable sports cards and autograph memorabilia and stuff stolen. Turned out to be a friend of his, a longtime friend of his, that broke into the house and did it. Or the guy that I was talking to, remember what's the name of that Funko Pop store? Do you remember?
Funko Pop store. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the one here in Georgia.
Yeah. What was the name of that
Stuck
store
in
again?
Time.
Stuck in Time. That's right. The original owner that I was having a conversation with before it changed hands, and he had his store had been broken into and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of comics stolen out. Turned out to be a friend of his, a regular customer who was coming in and out of the store. So a lot of times it's someone you know. So even like you could have family and friends over and oh yeah, looking around, and even most famously that prototype missile firing Boba Fett is a huge story about that because it was a very well known collector, Star Wars collector, who was part of a big Star Wars collecting group who was at like this guy's private Star Wars museum and stole it from him and tried to sell it on the slide, and the person he was selling it to recognized that something was wrong and made a few calls, and that's an extremely expensive piece, and it turned out he had been stealing from this guy for years.
Yeah, onesie, twosie here's and
bit by bit, and the guy just didn't realize because he had so much stuff.
And that's another reason why you do routine maintenance, because when you're going around and you cleaning, and some people have so much stuff, if one thing is missing, they don't really recognize it.
Yeah, not right away.
But like this type of stuff, they're boxed and they're on a shelf. If one of these boxes move, now you got a hole.
Yeah.
So then you're like, hey, wait a minute, something goes there. But then if you got a shelf like this, and it's like 1,000 things on the shelf, and one of those pieces go missing, it might take a while for you to realize, hey, wait a minute, where is Wolverine? I don't see him.
Yeah.
But that could have been, but you didn't notice, and it might have been 6 months. So now you got to go around. So if you do regular routine maintenance and you're moving things, you're dusting it off, you're wiping stuff off, then you can recognize, hey, wait a minute. I know I had a Wolverine or an Incredible Hulk or something, and I'm not seeing it now.
Yeah. But, again, the security. Make sure, if you can, get a security system.
Yeah.
Get cameras. We have cameras in here. In here and outside.
Yeah.
Locks, insurance.
Yeah.
You can, if you have regular homeowners insurance, you can tack this onto it.
Yeah.
You don't have to get necessarily special insurance. And then regular maintenance, not just for the purpose of security, but just to keep everything looking really nice. And if it's clean, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Just like with your body. If this gets coated in dust, after a while you're going to get to a point where you can't properly clean it anymore. And I've seen that, the dust will get grimy. I'm sure you've seen that. People.
I've seen it. I've bought things like that. And you get it and it's that layer of dust.
And it's like, what the heck? But that it's really important to go around and to clean everything and get a look at it, and it can tell you can find telltale signs of, oh, maybe there's too much moisture in here, maybe it's too warm in here as you handle the items. And I've seen plenty of collections where you go and you look at it and there's a 1/4 inch of dust on everything.
And it's on YouTube.
Yeah, and they put up a video. Hey dudes, here's my collection, and you can see like deep fingerprints on the shelves, and the blisters are all cloudy, or there's they have loose figures and there's like dirt or dust all in the features and on the clothing. It's like a layer of dust on the shoulders. It's like just. Clean it up. That's the longer it's neglected, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, a collection isn't put it up and okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah, and you come in and look at it every so often. You have to maintain it. You have to keep it up. Like you said, keep it clean, keep it dusted. Make sure that everything is spot on in case, one day somebody might come by, or you say, man, I want to sell this, and you want it to be in the best condition for selling purposes.
Yeah, if you plan on selling it, it's like you loved it enough to invest in it in the first place, keep loving it. It's just like in a relationship. You know, it's like, oh, baby, you don't do that anymore. How come? Oh, I was just trying to impress you.
And I got that cow.
Am I not worth impressing anymore?
Nope.
See, it's like that. You've got to keep trying. If you're with someone and you love them, you're going to keep trying to impress them, right? You're going to keep working on it. And this is something you need to keep working on too. You don't just, okay, I got it now. Pfft, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to keep putting that investment into it. And then another point that could be made is rotation. If you don't have a lot of space, do you want to keep your stuff buried, or do you want to change things out every once in a while and refresh it, remind you of what you have? I would sometimes forget what I even had because it was packed up for so long. You rotate it and refresh it, move things around. We end up moving stuff around all the time because you get something new and it's like, oh God, how am I going to get this in here? And then you got to shift everything, and you know, and that's a good time to do your maintenance too. Is if you're going to pull something down, like I had to pull this whole section apart. I did just recently, and so everything that I took off, I had to dust it and put it in a new spot, dust it off and clean it up. So I think rotation kind of factors into that as well.
Okay. You got any other points or any other things you want to mention?
I don't know. I think I said too much already. Well, you have some suggestions?
No, I think we covered everything, all of the talking points. But collecting is fun, and don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Because of naysayers and people who don't matter.
Or somebody who has like this this massive, amazing setup, and you can't do it.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, you know, you do what you can do. If you've got a walk-in closet to work it with, make it the best walk-in closet anybody's ever seen.
Yeah, you know, you paint it and do what you got to do. Because I've seen some people that had that walk-in closet and they got some amazing stuff. And I'm like, man, that's nice. I would love to have that.
Yeah, they'll surprise you. It's like, how much space does he have? Wait a minute. It's like,
but
how to get that in there?
It doesn't matter. So don't get discouraged because one person has something you don't have. So, you know, do what you can do with what you have. Make the best of it and be proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't tear anybody else down.
No, please. There's enough of that in the world.
I know. So, if that's all you got to say, we're going to sign off.
Okay. We will see you next time.